Have you ever felt life's truths hit you like a storm? Revelations that you'd rather remain hidden? Those quiet truths, lingering just beneath the surface, that demand confrontation but leave you paralyzed with the need for change? Let me ask you this. How often do you choose the comfortable veil of ignorance, shying away from the discomfort of confronting the real, raw truths? Today, I'm bringing you hard truths, inspired by the wisdom of the Stoics and the bitter lessons that life has to offer. Brace yourself, not just to recognize these truths, but to embrace them, for it is only through acceptance that we can rise stronger. Before we dive in, let me share a story that sets the tone. There once lived a man named James who, on the surface, seemed to have it all. A steady job, a beautiful apartment, a social life that others might envy. Yet despite his outward success, James felt an emptiness that gnawed at him every morning as he gazed into the mirror, wondering why he felt so lost despite all his achievements. One day, while walking through the park, James encountered an elderly man sitting serenely on a bench. Intrigued, James struck up a conversation and soon found himself pouring out his heart. "I feel like I'm just going through the motions," he confessed, "but I don't know what's missing." The older man, with a knowing smile, replied, "You're carrying truths you refuse to face. They weigh you down like stones in your pockets." The elderly man handed James a small notebook. "Write down every hard truth you've been avoiding. It won't be easy, but clarity will set you free." For weeks, James filled the pages of that notebook with painful truths. He was stuck in a career that drained him. He feared failure more than he embraced growth, and he was too reliant on others' opinions to validate his worth. Though the process was agonizing, each truth he acknowledged lifted a weight from his heart. Slowly but surely, James began to make changes, small at first, but with time, bold ones. And as he faced these truths, he found peace in places he never imagined. And so, my friend, can you? These 60 truths might sting, but they hold the key to unlocking a life of freedom. Let's begin. 1. The opinions of others will fade, but your life will remain. Every voice that judges you, every whisper behind your back, will eventually fade into silence. In a few generations, the words that once held you hostage will be forgotten, lost in the sands of time. Think about it. In 50 years, will it matter that someone called you foolish for chasing your dreams? A century from now, will anyone remember the gossip that kept you up at night? The truth is, the weight of others' opinions dissolves like mist in the morning sun. This isn't just a Stoic observation, but a liberating call to action. Instead of living to please others, live for yourself. Ask yourself, if I knew their opinions would be gone tomorrow, what would I do today? Speak your truth, take that risk, walk away from toxic relationships. The time is now. 2. Your achievements will be forgotten, but your character will live on. In a world obsessed with accolades and recognition, it's easy to believe that success will immortalize us. But the truth is, your achievements, no matter how monumental, will eventually fade into obscurity. The empires built, the masterpieces painted, will all be reduced to mere footnotes in history. Yet this truth doesn't lead to despair but to clarity. If your achievements won't last, what truly matters? The Stoics remind us to focus on virtues, integrity, kindness, resilience. These qualities shape your character and leave a lasting legacy in the hearts of others. Your achievements might gather dust, but the way you live, the moments of joy you create, the principles you stand for, will echo long after you're gone. 3. Living for others' expectations will rob you of fulfillment. From the moment we're born, we're shaped by the expectations of society, family, and friends. They craft a mold and expect us to fit into it. But when we follow these expectations blindly, we suffocate our individuality. We live a life that looks fine on the outside but feels hollow within. True freedom comes when we stop living for others and start living for ourselves. It's not about ignoring those we love, but prioritizing authenticity over approval. Consider Anna, who spent years trapped in a career her parents dreamed for her. But when she finally chose her own path, pursuing her passion for art, she felt alive for the first time. It was a decision that wasn't easy, but it brought her the fulfillment she had been seeking for years. 4. The fear of judgment holds more people back than failure itself. We've all hesitated, second-guessed, and played it safe because we were afraid of what others might think. Yet, the truth is, the judgment of others is often rooted in their own insecurities, not your worth. The people who critique you are too consumed by their own lives to judge you as harshly as you think. Fear of judgment is like a cage you build for yourself. The key to breaking free is realizing that judgment is inevitable, but it is also irrelevant. No one can live your life for you. So step into the arena. Let the world think what it wants, because at the end of the day, their opinions are just noise. What matters is that you lived authentically. 5. Choosing mediocrity to avoid risk is more painful than failure. Too many people believe that playing it safe will lead to a more secure and satisfying life. But mediocrity, the act of settling for good enough, is often far more painful than failure. Why? Because failure offers growth, lessons, and the possibility of success, while mediocrity traps you in a cycle of regret. Ask yourself, would you rather try and fail, or never try at all and wonder what could have been? 6. Overthinking decisions wastes time and breeds anxiety. How often do you find yourself paralyzed by the endless loop of overthinking? Each decision, no matter how small, seems like a monumental choice, but overthinking only robs you of precious time and energy. The antidote to overthinking is action. Trust in your ability to adapt and make decisions with the best information you have. The true danger lies not in making the wrong choice, but in failing to act altogether. Embrace these truths. They sting, yes, but through them, you'll find the clarity and strength to step into your life more fully. After all, it's only by confronting the uncomfortable that we discover the freedom to live authentically. Embrace action over inaction. It's far better to stumble boldly, learning through the mistakes, than to remain paralyzed by indecision. Every moment you waste in the clutches of overanalysis is a moment lost, a moment that could have been spent chasing your dreams. Life, in its beautiful uncertainty, promises no perfect outcomes, but it grants us the power to take the reins and move forward. So let go of the crippling fear of failure. Step into the arena and let your choices shape your destiny. Avoidance feeds regret. Every path we walk in life brings us to a crossroads, and with each, we face a choice: to confront the tough decision before us or to shrink away from it. In the short term, avoiding discomfort seems to offer solace, but over time, it breeds dissatisfaction. The decisions we dodge today will haunt us tomorrow, not as ghosts of the past, but as burdens that only grow heavier. Confront them now, and you'll find not just relief, but clarity, growth, and a deeper respect for your own courage. Comfort is a silent trap. Comfort whispers softly to you, promising safety and ease. It tells you there's no need for change, that you can remain right where you are. But comfort, though it feels like a warm embrace, is often a gilded cage. It keeps you bound in mediocrity, robbing you of the very progress you seek. Growth only emerges when you step beyond the limits of what is familiar and safe. The road to greatness is paved with discomfort. Embrace it, and you'll find the strength to evolve. Pain is the crucible of growth. Pain, as unwelcome as it is, often holds the key to transformation. In our darkest hours, when it feels as if everything is crumbling, we discover the strength we never knew we had. It strips away the unnecessary and forces us to face what truly matters. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, what stands in the way becomes the way. Pain does not happen to us to break us. It comes to prepare us, to refine us, to lead us to a version of ourselves more resilient and capable than before. Blame steals your power. Blame feels good momentarily. It lets you off the hook, allows you to deflect responsibility, and shelters your ego. But in doing so, it steals your power. When you point the finger at others, you place your fate in their hands, relinquishing control over your own destiny. True strength lies in accountability, in taking full responsibility for your life, regardless of what others may do. When you own your circumstances, you unlock the ability to change them. Don't ask who's to blame. Ask what you can do to make it right. Choose regrets that align with your truth. Regret is an inevitable part of life, an emotion that no amount of careful planning can entirely avoid. Yet, regret doesn't have to be a source of suffering. Instead of trying to eliminate regret, focus on choosing the regrets you can live with. Every decision you make comes with a price. By aligning your choices with your deepest values, you can ensure that even the regrets you carry will be ones you can face with peace. Live intentionally, and choose the path that feels true to who you are, not to what others expect. Hitting rock bottom can set you free. Though it feels like the end, hitting rock bottom is often the moment of greatest liberation. It strips away the fear of failure, leaving you with nothing left to lose. In this place, you discover the courage to take risks, to forge a new path without the chains of past judgments and fears. As you rise from the ashes, you are no longer bound by the expectations of others. You are free to move forward with boldness and clarity, unburdened by the weight of yesterday's failures. Let this be the starting point of your rebirth. Take the risks you've been avoiding. Life is a wild, unpredictable ride, but it is precisely when we confront the abyss of uncertainty that it loses its power to frighten us. Rock bottom, though seemingly the end, can serve as the fertile soil from which the rest of your life can grow. One of life's most liberating truths is this: people are not thinking about you as much as you fear they are. We often resist this realization because deep down, we all crave validation. Yet once you accept this, you break free from the chains of worrying about others' opinions. Think about it. How often do you truly analyze someone else's choices or failures? Perhaps you notice a mistake, a slip of the tongue, but then your mind swiftly returns to its own affairs, its own concerns. The same holds for others. They are too preoccupied with their own lives to pay more than a passing thought to yours. The fear of judgment is a prison of the mind. It's why we hesitate to take risks, to speak our truth, to follow our dreams. We imagine 1,000 critics watching every move, eagerly waiting for us to stumble. But that chorus doesn't exist. Most people are too consumed by their own lives to give yours more than a fleeting glance. Yes, some will judge you. Opinions will form, comments will be made, but they will pass as quickly as they came. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, wisely observed that we care more about others' opinions than we care about our own. He recognized the folly in letting such fleeting thoughts carry weight. Take, for example, John, who spent years avoiding public speaking, paralyzed by the fear of looking foolish. When he finally gave a presentation, he stumbled over his words. Yet the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. Later, when he asked a colleague about the moments he had agonized over, the colleague shrugged and replied, "I didn't even notice." What John had obsessed over for hours was forgotten in seconds. When you realize how little room you occupy in others' minds, you free yourself to act with authenticity. No longer will you waste time obsessing over how you appear to others. Instead, you focus on living in alignment with your values, doing what truly matters to you. The Stoics remind us that what belongs to us, what we can truly control, is our judgment, our choices, our character. Free yourself from the fear of judgment and reclaim your power. With courage, you will take risks, embrace failure, and stop fearing what others might think. Next time you find yourself holding back due to fear of others' opinions, remember this: they are not thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. And even if they are, their thoughts will not define your life. Only your actions can do that. Success requires obsessive dedication and sacrifice. Behind every triumph lies a tale of relentless effort, sacrifice, and unwavering focus. Many admire success from afar, but few are willing to endure the struggle that it demands. The truth is that success isn't a happy accident, nor is it the result of mere luck. It is the outcome of obsessive dedication. Consider Michael Jordan, revered as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. What many overlook, however, is the sheer obsession behind his success. His brutal training regimen, his refusal to accept mediocrity, and his relentless work ethic were the real driving forces behind his legendary career. While others rested, Jordan practiced. While others celebrated, he prepared for the next challenge. But obsession comes at a cost. To excel in one area of life, you must be willing to sacrifice others, relationships, leisure, even health. Consider Sarah, an entrepreneur who worked tirelessly for years to build a successful business. She sacrificed family milestones, social gatherings, and her own well-being. In the end, she achieved her goal of financial independence, but she admitted that the sacrifices came at a heavy price. Success is not free. It is a trade-off. You must decide what you are willing to sacrifice. The Stoics teach us to pursue excellence without losing sight of what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius advises us not to complain, for the path to success is a choice we must embrace fully, accepting the sacrifices it demands without bitterness. Obsession is necessary, but wisdom lies in balance. Success is not about reaching a final destination. It is about who you become in the process. The obsessive dedication you pour into your craft shapes your character, your discipline, and your resilience. The sacrifices, though painful, are part of the price for becoming extraordinary. Remember, success is not given. It is earned, through the relentless grind that most people are unwilling to endure. If you are willing to pay the price, success can be yours. But if you are not, then admire it from a distance, knowing that it is a choice, not a gift. Pain is inevitable, but how you use it defines your character. Pain is an inescapable part of life. It is physical, emotional, and mental, and no one escapes it. Yet the difference between those who rise above and those who remain stuck lies in how they respond to pain. Pain, when used wisely, can be the greatest teacher and the most powerful catalyst for growth. Think of the discomfort you feel at the gym, lifting weights. Your muscles ache, your breath quickens, but it is precisely this pain that triggers growth. Without it, your muscles would remain weak, your endurance untested. Life's challenges work the same way. Pain may break you down, but if you let it, it will rebuild you stronger. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Pain is not an obstacle, it is the path itself. When faced with adversity, you have two choices: to let it define you as a victim, or to use it to forge resilience and strength. The choice is yours. Take Viktor Frankl, who endured unimaginable suffering in a Nazi concentration camp. He lost everything: his family, his possessions, his freedom. But instead of succumbing to despair, he found purpose in his pain. His book, Man's Search for Meaning, has inspired millions, proving that even in the darkest of times one can find light. Contrast this with those who let pain consume them, those who dwell on their misfortunes, blame others, and remain stuck in bitterness. Pain does not define them. Their unwillingness to use it as a stepping stone to something greater does. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Suffering comes from resistance, resisting the lesson, resisting the growth, and resisting the reality of what has happened. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in mindset transforms pain from a burden into a tool for self-discovery. Pain doesn't last forever, but the strength you gain from enduring it does. Embrace it as part of your journey, for just as diamonds are formed under pressure, so too are the strongest versions of ourselves. Failure to commit wastes time and limits progress. In a world full of endless options, the inability to commit is one of the greatest obstacles to success. When you refuse to choose a path, you waste precious time and energy spinning in circles, never moving forward. Indecision is not harmless. It is a thief that steals your potential. Picture a sailor trying to reach a distant shore. If they constantly change course, unsure of which direction to take, they will never arrive. The same is true for life. Without commitment, you drift aimlessly, never fully investing in any endeavor and never reaping the rewards of dedication. The fear of commitment often stems from the fear of failure. What if I choose the wrong career, the wrong partner, the wrong project? But here's the irony. By avoiding commitment, you waste more time than you would by failing and learning from your mistakes. The Stoics remind us that inaction is often worse than the wrong action. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Waiting for perfect conditions or the perfect opportunity is a futile endeavor. Perfection never comes. Progress only happens when you commit to a course of action and take imperfect steps forward. Consider Sarah, who spent years dabbling in different careers, never fully committing to one. She feared making the wrong choice, so she made no choice at all. Meanwhile, her peers who chose, failed, adjusted, and ultimately found success. By the time Sarah decided to act, she was years behind. Commitment doesn't mean you'll never adjust your course. It means dedicating yourself fully to a goal until you know whether to stay the course or pivot. Without commitment, you'll never gain the clarity that comes from experience. You will remain stuck in analysis paralysis, wondering what if, instead of discovering what is. To overcome the fear of commitment, start small. Choose a goal, commit to it for a set period, and give it your all. At the end of that time, evaluate your progress, but don't quit prematurely. This builds the muscle of commitment and teaches you the value of seeing things through. Life rewards those who commit. Success doesn't come from dabbling, it comes from diving in, taking risks, and learning as you go. Failure may sting, but the pain of regret from never trying is far worse. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Choose a path, commit fully, and trust that progress will follow. After all, the only true failure is failing to begin. Ultimate victory is not measured by trophies or accolades, but by the quiet triumph of a life well lived, where bitterness finds no home. Toxic motivations, those born from anger, resentment, or a need to prove others wrong, are like flickering flames that offer momentary warmth but eventually burn out, leaving only ashes behind. While motivation is a powerful force, not all motivations are created equal. Negative emotions can ignite a spark, but they will never sustain the fire of true success. Consider the story of Daniel, who, after being passed over for a promotion, became consumed by the desire to prove his worth. Driven by resentment, he threw himself into his work, achieving success on the surface, targets met, accolades earned. Yet, beneath it all, bitterness gnawed at him, corroding his health, relationships, and his sense of fulfillment. His success felt hollow, for it was fueled by anger, not passion. The Stoics remind us to examine the root of our motivations. Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." When our goals are tainted by toxic emotions, we are no longer following our own path. We are reacting to those who wronged us. Anger narrows our vision, and resentment drains our energy, steering us away from long-term fulfillment and toward fleeting, shallow victories. To break free from this cycle, ask yourself, why do I want this goal? Is it to prove someone wrong, or does it align with your deepest passions and values? If your motivation is born from a place of negativity, it's time to reframe your perspective. Release the need to win against others, and shift your focus toward winning for yourself. Forgiveness is a key part of this transformation. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing the wrongs done to you, but refusing to let them control your life. In forgiving, you reclaim your energy and redirect it toward building the life you want, one driven by genuine satisfaction, not the fleeting need for vindication. Lastly, cultivate gratitude. Shift your focus from what you've lost to what you've gained, and from the pain others may have caused to the possibilities you can create. Gratitude refreshes your motivation, reminding you that your journey is one of growth, not retaliation. True success arises from positive intentions, love, curiosity, and a desire to contribute. When your goals come from such a place, the journey itself becomes as rewarding as the destination. On the other hand, toxic motivations are like chains. They may propel you forward for a time, but they will always hold you back in the end. As you navigate this vast, intricate reality, heed the wisdom of Epictetus. Seek not the fleeting allure of external approval, but rather the lasting peace found within. When you anchor your worth in the validation of others, you surrender your serenity to their whims. True fulfillment, the kind that nourishes the soul, arises from living in harmony with your deepest values, not from the superficial warmth of being liked or accepted by the world. When faced with the sting of resentment, pause and reflect. It is rarely about you. People's reactions are often reflections of their inner struggles, their fears, and their insecurities. Their resentment speaks more to their relationship with themselves than it does to your accomplishments. Embrace humility as your shield, for success does not elevate you above others. Instead, share your journey, the triumphs and the failures, the lessons learned, so others may see the humanity behind your victories. Vulnerability, like a gentle bridge, fosters connection and reminds us all that success is earned, not bestowed by some mystical force. As you rise, remember, not all relationships will endure. Some may even fray. That is the natural course of growth. Surround yourself with those who celebrate your success without feeling diminished by it, for their support will ground you and propel you forward. Do not waste energy trying to control how others perceive you. Their shifting opinions are beyond your grasp. What matters is your steadfast alignment with your purpose, your unwavering commitment to your own potential. Keep moving forward, not for the approval of others, but for the quiet satisfaction that comes from fulfilling the life you were meant to live. Success, as it blooms, often attracts the shadows of envy and resentment. It's the price we pay for progress. The more you achieve, the more attention you will draw, and not all of it will be favorable. Consider the stories of those who have reshaped the world: Elon Musk, J.K. Rowling, and others. Their achievements are nothing short of remarkable, yet they are met with relentless criticism. Their success forces society to confront its limitations, and that can be a painful process for many. As Marcus Aurelius wisely counseled, when you wake up in the morning, remind yourself that you will deal with meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, and dishonest people. They act this way because they cannot tell good from evil. Their negativity is not a reflection of you, but a glimpse into their inability to process their own emotions and shortcomings. Resentment often arises because your success reflects what others have failed to achieve. It shatters the illusion of comfort, forcing them to confront their own stagnation. But rather than letting this resentment derail you, use it as a reminder that you are breaking free from the chains of mediocrity. True leaders and innovators embrace discomfort, for they know that greatness is never born from complacency. So, how should you deal with the inevitable hate? First, remember that criticism often speaks more of the critic than the criticized. If it's baseless, let it slide. If there's truth to it, take it as constructive feedback, a tool for growth. Embrace the discomfort of being misunderstood. It is the crucible of personal transformation. View hate not as an attack but as a badge of honor, a sign that you are challenging the status quo. If no one is talking about you, good or bad, it may be time to push harder. Success is not about pleasing everyone. It is about living with authenticity and purpose. Hate is simply the byproduct of progress. Let the noise fade into the background as you continue to walk your path. The road to greatness is never easy, nor should it be. Hard times, though uncomfortable and unwelcome, are the fertile soil in which true growth blooms. There is no growth without struggle, no strength without adversity. Behind every success story lies a series of trials that forge the individual into something greater. Without hardship, there is no transformation. These challenges are not obstacles to be avoided, but lessons to be embraced. In the words of Epictetus, difficulties show a person who they are. Embrace discomfort as the catalyst for growth, not as something to be feared. It is the weight that shapes your strength, the fire that forges your character. Like a muscle that grows stronger through strain, so too do you grow through adversity. Hard times teach us resilience, determination, and appreciation for the victories that come only after sacrifice. The discomfort you face today will be the foundation of your tomorrow's success. In the face of hardship, ask not why it is happening to you, but what you can learn from it. Let it refine you rather than break you. True self-love is not a passive acceptance of who you are. It is the active cultivation of your potential. To love oneself deeply is to hold yourself to the highest standards, to believe in your capacity for growth and greatness. Self-love is about nurturing yourself as a loving parent would a child, guiding, teaching, and encouraging to reach higher. It is not about avoiding discomfort or shirking responsibility, but about rising to meet the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Self-love is not about indulgence or avoiding struggle. It is about discipline, purpose, and alignment with your highest values. It is refusing to settle for mediocrity, no matter how tempting that might be. Set high standards for yourself, and pursue them with unwavering commitment. This path may not always be easy, but it will lead you to a life free of regret, full of growth and fulfillment. Lastly, ignorance once revealed can no longer shield you. It may offer a fleeting sense of comfort, but the moment you gain insight, you are faced with a choice. Act on what you know, or remain stagnant, knowing full well the consequences of inaction. Stoic philosophy teaches us to seek truth, even when it's uncomfortable, for to persist in ignorance is to betray yourself. Knowledge is the light that illuminates the path ahead, but it is up to you to walk it. Once you know better, you have the power to change your course and to grow. Ignorance may feel like bliss in the short term, but in the long run, it is the regret of a life left unlived. So, embrace the discomfort of change, for it is the only way to step into the person you are meant to become. The path to excellence. A journey beyond the ordinary. Do not be deceived into thinking the path to greatness is an easy one. It demands effort, discipline, and unwavering dedication. However, in a world where many surrender to mediocrity, even the smallest effort can set you apart. Think of the simple acts that others overlook. Arriving on time, keeping promises, maintaining the smallest of disciplines. These quiet commitments already elevate you above the crowd. In the workplace, being reliable and proactive doesn't just make you an employee. It makes you a beacon of distinction. In relationships, showing genuine care and effort can transform you into someone irreplaceable. The bar may seem low, but it is not because excellence is easy, rather because so few are willing to aim for it. Why do so many settle for mediocrity? Fear of failure, the comfort of laziness, and the allure of ease often keep people anchored in the shallow waters of complacency. Mediocrity, though deceptively comfortable, binds you to unfulfilled potential. Choosing it is like running a race and quitting halfway, not because you couldn't finish, but because you simply didn't feel like pushing further. Standing out doesn't mean being perfect or outshining everyone around you. It means committing to constant improvement, no matter how small. Instead of seeking to be the best at everything, aim simply to be better than you were yesterday. Most people don't even try. This mindset alone is enough to set you apart. How can you escape the grip of mediocrity? Begin by identifying the areas in which you've been coasting. Is it your health, your career, your relationships? Once you've pinpointed these, set achievable goals. Focus on small, consistent actions that lead to steady progress, not grandiose gestures. Excellence is a marathon, not a sprint. Surround yourself with those who inspire you to strive for more. Mediocrity is contagious, but so is ambition. Choose your influences wisely, and you'll find the courage to push your limits. Remember, standing out isn't about external success, it's about personal fulfillment. The reward of giving your best effort is the self-respect and confidence you build along the way. You may not always get the desired outcome, but knowing you gave your all is its own victory. In a world where mediocrity reigns, excellence becomes an act of rebellion. Be the person who shows up, who puts in the effort, and who strives for more, not because it's easy, but because it is worth every ounce of your dedication. The gap between who you are and who you could be. A source of growth. Have you ever glanced in the mirror and felt a sharp pang of discomfort? Not from the reflection before you, but from the distance between who you are today and the person you know you could become. That gap, that space between your current self and your ideal self, can feel like a wound, a source of frustration, and at times anguish. But if you choose to see it differently, this very discomfort can fuel your growth. This principle lies at the heart of Stoic philosophy: to focus on what we can control and strive for continual self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, often spoke of becoming the best version of oneself. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. The key lies not in lamenting the gap, but in closing it. The pain we feel from this gap often comes from the sting of unmet potential. You may feel you lack the discipline, confidence, or accomplishment you know you're capable of. And while it's tempting to drown this discomfort in distractions or excuses, doing so only keeps you stuck. The pain is there for a reason. It's your inner compass, urging you to act, to grow, to evolve. But why does this gap hurt so much? Because it forces you to confront the truth of your own choices. It requires you to admit where you've held yourself back, whether from fear, laziness, or self-doubt. It's easier to blame external circumstances than to own the fact that you may not have done everything in your power. Yet this honesty is the gateway to progress. Without it, you cannot grow. Channel this pain constructively. Use it as a reminder that you possess the power to change. Begin by clarifying what your ideal self looks like. Is it someone who is more disciplined, kind, or courageous? Be specific. Once you have a clear vision, break it down into actionable steps. Progress doesn't have to be monumental. It can begin with small, consistent actions. Each small victory, waking up on time, completing a workout, or resisting a temptation, reduces the gap. The gap is not your enemy. It is a mirror reflecting both your potential and your responsibility. Embrace it, and you will discover that the discomfort it brings is temporary, while the growth it sparks is eternal. Breaking free from the chains of conformity, living authentically. Conforming to the expectations of others may seem like the safe route, but it is a dangerous trap. Over time, it breeds a deep resentment, a feeling that your life no longer belongs to you. Every choice made to please someone else is a small betrayal of your true self, and these betrayals accumulate, robbing you of your authenticity. Stoicism teaches us to live in alignment with our values, not the judgments or opinions of others. As Epictetus wisely put it, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This might sound harsh, but it holds a profound truth. If you spend your life seeking the approval of others, you will never walk your own path freely. Why do so many fall into this trap? Fear of rejection, the pressure to fit in, or a desire to avoid disappointment often drives this behavior. You may stay in a job you loathe to meet family expectations or remain in a relationship that no longer serves you to avoid judgment. These compromises may seem harmless at first, but they eventually become prisons. The harsh reality is that no matter how hard you try, you will never fully satisfy everyone. People's opinions are inconsistent and contradictory. What pleases one may offend another. Chasing approval is like trying to fill a bucket with holes. It's exhausting, futile, and leaves you drained. Worse still, it erodes your self-respect, stifles your growth, and breeds resentment toward others, and eventually, toward yourself. Breaking free from this cycle requires immense courage. It means prioritizing your own values over the ever-changing expectations of others. This does not mean being selfish or disregarding others, but recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup. By living authentically, you can give more to those who truly matter, without resentment or regret. Begin by identifying where you have conformed. Ask yourself, am I making this choice because it aligns with my values, or simply to gain approval? If it's the latter, consider the long-term consequences. Will this choice bring you closer to the life you desire, or push you further away from it? Take small steps to reclaim your autonomy. Set boundaries, even if they make you uncomfortable. Learn to say no without guilt. Most importantly, give yourself permission to disappoint others when necessary. The people who truly care about you will respect your authenticity. Living authentically is not easy, but it is the only path to lasting fulfillment. When you stop conforming to the expectations of others, you free yourself to live a life that is true to who you really are. And that life, rooted in honesty and integrity, is worth every moment of temporary discomfort. The power of responsibility. Taking ownership of your life. One of the hardest truths to swallow is that you are entirely responsible for your life. Every choice, every action, or lack of action, shapes your reality. Blaming others may feel justifiable in the moment, but it is a trap that keeps you stagnant. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control external circumstances, we can control our responses to them. As Epictetus reminds us, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you place blame on others, you surrender control of your life. You become a passenger in your own journey, reacting instead of proactively steering the ship. Blame often stems from a desire to avoid discomfort. It's easier to point fingers than to face the truth of your own choices. But each time you pass the blame, you lose an opportunity to learn and grow. Taking responsibility does not mean ignoring the wrongs done to you. There are real injustices in the world, and people sometimes act against your best interests. But even in those moments, it is your reaction that shapes your future. Will you let their actions control your life, or will you rise above and take charge of your destiny? Taking responsibility is empowering. It places you back in the driver's seat, allowing you to chart your own course. Start by examining where you have been blaming others. Are you blaming your parents for your financial struggles, your boss for your lack of career growth, or your partner for your unhappiness? Acknowledge these thoughts, but don't let them define you. Ask yourself, what can I do to change this? Responsibility is the bedrock of progress. It is the first step toward achieving your goals and living a life that is meaningful. As Marcus Aurelius so wisely said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. As we've explored today, striving for excellence, embracing responsibility, and living authentically are the keys to unlocking your true potential. So don't settle for mediocrity. Choose to be better today than you were yesterday. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join us on this journey of self-improvement